Okay. Well, I really don't kind of want to hold you back because this next speaker is going to blow your socks off. He is a friend of the Juice Plus family. We've had him at our conference. We love him. We really, really do. And we're so excited. So again, welcome to our guests as well as all of our partners back. Let me officially introduce you to the amazing Keith Abraham. So, our speaker today is a multi-award-winning and best-selling author of 5 books, published in 12 languages. Boy, you get around. In his 23 years speaking career, he has presented to more than 1.6 million people across 30 countries. What's more telling is that 93% of his clients have used him more than once. And we're one of those clients that have definitely used Keith more than once. 57% have asked him back more than 6 times, and 34% of his clients have used him every year for more than 10 years. For more than 20 years, Keith has become the global authority on goal achievement and the creator of Goal Driver Formula. He has researched how people can achieve what seems like the unimaginable, unreachable, and the unattainable in their life. Can I please see the chat blow up with huge amount of appreciation and lots of fantastic emojis for Mr. Keith Abraham. Woo-hoo! Welcome.
Thanks, Celine. Just wonderful to be back working with Juice Plus again. And welcome to all the guests this afternoon. Thanks for jumping online and being part of this amazing showcase. You know, wow, we live in a crazy, unprecedented, chaotic even world at the moment. And today is about helping you not only navigate it, but really set yourself up for the future. You know, one of the things that's been really interesting is over the last 8 weeks, I've delivered, this is my 45th webinar to into 8 countries to about 13,000 people. And, you know, a lot of times I'm talking to people and early on when COVID hit, people talked about, well, we just got to get through this. And you know what I started thinking about? This is not a time to get through anything. This is a time to grow through it. You know, not just get through it, but grow through it. And so today I want to get you to make some decisions. You know, it's the 4th of July, Independence Day in the US. And one of the things that we talk about a lot in Juice Plus is about this business is the opportunity to give you independence, is to give you a plan B that can become your plan A, to provide you with this side hustle so that you can create a lifestyle for you, your family, and the people who mean the world to you. And I want to give you some strategies on how to do that. So today you're going to have to make some decisions. You know, people often say, why don't people make decisions? You know, the number one reason why most people don't make decisions, in actual fact there's 3, but the number one reason is fear. People are fearful. If they make a decision and it doesn't work out, they'll be labeled a loser. But, you know, sometimes also people don't make a decision because what if it does work out and people have a higher expectation of them? And the third reason why people don't make decisions is because fear of change. You know, for me to go from here to here, I'm going to have to do some things differently. And so I want to share with you some ideas and strategies. Now, the hardest thing you have to do is, if you haven't already done it, download the handout because I want to work you through this handout in the next, 25 minutes. And the hardest thing you have to do is write and think and jump in the chat box and answer some questions that I ask you to answer as we go through. So if you're happy to get started, I reckon we should get started. Let's do that. You know, one of the things that we want to really get people to think about is if you want to make a decision, and by the way, now is the time to make a decision on whether you want to just survive, whether you want to be successful, or whether you truly want to be significant. What's that for you? What do you want to be? Do you want to be significant in your life? Do you just want to be successful, or do you just want to get by? Not get ahead, but get by. But if you want to be successful and be significant, then you're going to have to follow this process. You're going to have to find purpose. And what I mean by purpose is you have to determine where you want to go. If you've seen me present before, I talk a lot about having a vision for the future, having a long-term goal, writing down the 100 things you want to achieve in your lifetime. You know what? We still have to do that. But now, where there is a little bit of uncertainty around, you have to bring your vision back and say, what's my purpose for the next 90 days? In the next 90 days, what could you achieve in your Juice Plus business? Even if you haven't even joined yet, you can be recognized. You can be at a level. You can be making an extra $100 a week, maybe $1,000 a month, maybe more. All because you made a decision today. But to do that, you need to have a reason why. Because once you know you've got some purpose, you create a plan. And the people I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to share with you some strategies on how to achieve your goals. For the last 24 years, I've traveled the globe, as Celine spoken to 1.6 million people about high performance, about how to achieve goals. And so here's what I can tell you. If you don't have a plan, you panic. You know, why did people buy so much toilet paper? Why? Because they didn't have a plan. So you need to make sure you got a plan, because with a plan, you make progress. Let me ask you this question. Do you get frustrated? Are you like me and you get frustrated when you don't feel like you're making progress? When you don't feel like you're moving towards what you want and moving away from what you don't want? Because once you make progress, it energizes you. You know, I've written 5 best-selling books, as Celine said, and 4 of them, I should say, are around passion, goals, and focus, direction. If you said to me, Keith, you can never, ever use the word passion ever again, too easy. I'd replace it with the word energy. You want to hang around people that got good energy, don't you? How do you know when you're hanging around people that are negative? Simple. You feel a lot better after you left them. And so you want to make sure you got great energy so that you not just go through this, but you grow through this. You come out the other side of it and you're in a better place than pre-COVID. So we're going to talk about how we go through this. And in actual fact, the strategy I want to share with you is getting you very clear on what the goal is moving forward and making sure that you know how to do that. So here's what I can share with you is that every one of us, so for the last 17 years, I've studied people and their goal setting process. And one of the things I can share with you is that unless you've got an emotional, mental, and physical connection to your goal, you'll never truly be committed, compelled, or connected to it. So the 17 years of research that I've done just alone around this area of having an emotional connection to your goal. In other words, what does this really look like? Why, what, how, feel, think, do. Heart, head, hands. You have to have all 3. See, unless you've got a big enough reason why, any excuse will do. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Unless you know exactly what you want, you're crystal clear. Vague goals equal vague results. And unless you know exactly what to do. Now, here's the beautiful part about belonging to the Juice Plus family is that your leaders, who I know exceptionally well, have already walked this pathway. They've got time-tested, proven strategies on how to build successful, sustainable, significant businesses. And they're happy to share that with you to help you achieve what's important, what matters, and what makes a difference to you. And so I want to get you to understand. Now, the phrase I coin here is that when we know the emotional connection, and by the way, as an adult, you can experience 135 different emotions. 64 of them are positive. The rest are all negative. Once you know what your driver is. Now, of those 64 emotions, they come down into what I call 8 key goal drivers. And what I can say to you is once you know what your goal driver is, then you can focus on that to move yourself forward. You can become very clear on what it is that you want to achieve. But you have to start with what's going to drive you first. If this makes sense to you so far, please put a Y in the chat box if you'd be so kind. See, unless you've got an emotional connection, a big enough reason why, unless you have the mental connection, the what you want to achieve, unless you have the physical connection on how you want to achieve it, you're never actually going to ever achieve it. But once you have those 3, you become committed, connected, and compelled. Will you put a Y in the chat box if you're, okay, wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Excellent. Oh, chat box has gone crazy. Thank you for doing that. So now you have to determine what is your driver. So let me share with you the 8 key goal drivers. This is in your handout, by the way. People want to feel successful. People want to feel purposeful. People want to feel inspired. People want to feel happy. People want to feel organized. People want to feel respected. People want to feel confident, and people want to feel relaxed. So here's what I'd like you to do. Back in the chat box for me, in the next 90 days, how do you want to feel? Out of these 8, how do you want to feel about your life, about your Juice Plus business? How do you want to feel? What does organized mean? Control. What does successful mean? That means that you have stature. What does purpose mean? You're making a difference. What is inspired is you're making a difference to others. Other people you're inspiring others. Happy is that you have got more joy in your life than sadness. Respected is that you're actually finally being recognized for the brilliance that you can bring to the table. Confident, you're no longer waiting for someone to give you permission. Relaxed is that, this is effortless. So take a moment for me here, be so kind. Pop in the chat box for me. How do you want to feel in the next 90 days? Do that for me now. Let me get some glasses on so I can read what you got. Okay, purposeful, thanks. Marina, purposeful. Beck, confident. Marina, happy. All the above. Being organised will help a lot though. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. You've got to make a decision, Lisa. You can't pick all 8. You've got to pick one. Okay, we're going to talk about decision making in a moment. Tomorrow, got to pick one there, but purposeful, inspired, organised, love it, all the above. Yep, Jamie, got to get relaxed. Yeah, tomorrow, yep, wonderful. Inspired, outstanding, yep, good. Danny, relaxed. Okay, Karen, 2 and 4, yep. Okay, lovely, good, super, purposeful and happy. Okay, you got this. Now, let me show you the next piece of the puzzle. Let me show you how to bring all of this together as part of the process. So, now, to be able to achieve everything you want to achieve, I want to share with you the goal driver formula. So, as I said, 17 years of research into this one flip chart, but it combines the emotional, mental, and the physical. And now, if you're following along in your workbook, I actually want you not to listen to the presentation. I want you to participate in the presentation, which means that I want you to actually stop for a moment and write things down. So here's the first thing. By the way, you've already done this. I want you to write down one goal driver. I want you to write down one goal driver you want to achieve in the next 90 days. Why am I saying 90 days? Two reasons. One is that 90 days gives us a bit of a longer term vision. It gets us through the crud of what we're going through at the moment. Second thing is that it is also leads up to the next recognition within Juice Plus, which gives you an opportunity to create some momentum. And by the way, you want momentum over motivation any day of the week. So, goal driver. So write down what your goal driver is. Second thing, I now want you to write down what your number one goal is. What's your number one goal that you want to achieve? And I want you to write that down in clearly defined terms. You have to be very specific. Oh, don't write down, I just want to be successful. What does that mean? Oh, I want to make some more money. What does that mean? You have to be specific now, because vague goals equal vague results. So if you've been in Juice Plus for a little while now, I want you to think about what is the next level in your business. If you're a guest and you don't know too much about the business at all, I want you to think about what you want to achieve either personally or professionally or financially or physically. I want you to think about what you want to achieve for your family. So what's that number one goal that you want to achieve? Next, step number 3, really simple. You've got to pick a date. So let's look at it. We've got, we're in July now, I should say. July, August, September. So 30th of September. What do you want to have achieved by the 30th of September, 2020? 90 days time. Now, by the way, you might think, I don't know, Keith. You know, it's a crazy old world. Yeah, but you've got to control the controllables. You know, lots of people are watching way too much TV, looking through too much news, and are letting the external environment dictate their emotional state. And what you need to start to think a little bit about is, what can you control? And I reckon you can control what's going to happen in the next 90 days. So you need to pick a date. Now, it can be anywhere from now till the next 90 days. If you want to make it longer, but that's okay. Step number 4 is 5 reasons why. You've got to find 5 reasons why. Why 5? Because if you don't have a strong enough reason, any excuse will do. Too hot, too cold, too many, too few, too little, too much, too hard. Oh, okay, this will be too easy. Any excuse will do. And why do you need 5? So that you've got a strong enough reason. So when it becomes challenging, when it becomes a little difficult, you've got enough reasons to go through the roadblock, to go around the roadblock, to go over the roadblock, to go under it. You've got enough reasons why. Step number 5. I want you to write down 2 things now. Hand on heart, no BS. I want you to write down 2 things that you need to start doing and 2 things you need to stop doing. So 2 things you need to start doing, 2 things you need to stop doing for you to achieve this goal in that time frame to help you feel that way. I want you, now actual fact, I'm going to get you to type this in the chat box for me. So if you can jump in the chat box for me, I want you to tell me. Now, by the way, I don't need to know the goal. I don't need to know the goal. You don't need to share the goal with me. But I want you to, hand on heart, be honest with yourself and write down what's one thing you need to stop doing and what's one thing you need to start doing. Stop first, start second. I'll pretty much be able to work it out as we go through. So what is that for you? Take a moment, type it in the chat box for me, because I'd love to hear what people need to start doing and stop doing. Let's go back over here to the beach. What is it? What is it? What is it? Here we go. Melissa, thank you. No more scrolling on Facebook. It's a waste of time. 100%. Wonderful. Stop procrastinating. Sarah, I'm going to talk a little bit about procrastination later, if that's okay with you. Stop too much thinking and less and not enough doing. Okay, gotcha. Stop doubting yourself. I want to talk about that in a moment. Nicole, thank you. Stop procrastinating, start action. I'm going to talk about procrastination in a moment. Start taking action, stop making excuses. Hey, Adele, how many people have got a suitcase full of excuses? So stop worrying about what others think. Be authentic. Yeah, Elise. You know what? The people who are, we put too much emphasis on what other people are thinking. Guess what? They're not. They're not thinking about it. You're thinking they're thinking, but they're actually not thinking. They're thinking about the next beer they're going to have, or the next, what they're going to eat. It's so important. Stop procrastinating and be consistent. Start being consistent. Yeah. You don't have to put your hand up, but often what I say to people when I'm presenting, I said, in a live event, in-person event, I should say, I say, put your hand up if how many people in this room are consistently inconsistent. Is that you? Are you consistently inconsistent? I know I've been that. Stop getting distracted. Stop chickening out and start the 3 ways. I like it. Start clarifying and stop mucking about. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to handle procrastination for a moment. Let me do that over here. So here's the thing about procrastination. Firstly, you have to understand this. Procrastination is the greatest robber of self-confidence. If you know in your heart of hearts that you should go and do something and you don't do it, it eats away at you. What's the greatest enhancer of self-confidence? Self-discipline. Now, if you want to beat procrastination forever, in actual fact, I wrote a book about this called Focus. You can find it on my web page if you want. If you have been procrastinating, if you want to beat procrastination forever, here's what I want you to think about. Forget about finishing it and focus on taking the first step. That's it. I don't want it to be the right step. I just want you to take the first step. You see, here's what I can tell you. The day you take the first step, you beat procrastination. But you know what you really create? Momentum. And so if you can take the first step, you create momentum because you're more inclined to take the next step and the next step. Give you an example. If you've been procrastinating about starting your exercise program, don't do it. Don't do it. Go to bed in your gym gear. It's not sexy, but go to bed in your gym gear because as soon as you get up in the morning and you walk to the kitchen, you've started. You've started. And I guarantee you that if you go to bed in your gym gear, put your shoes on, walk to the kitchen, and you think, you know what, I'm going to walk to the letterbox now. You walk to the letterbox, and by the time you get to the letterbox, you think, what the heck, I'll walk down to that next telephone pole. And then you go, you know what, I'll walk around the block. I'll do that twice. I'll do it 3 times. If you've been procrastinating about cleaning out your wardrobe, don't do it. Go to your drawer. Open up your drawer. Find the sock that doesn't have a friend and release it into the wild. You've started. That's how you beat procrastination forever. All right. So you get this. Here's the next step. Step number 6, 4 key milestones. You've got to come up with 4 key milestones. What does that look like? What do you need to do this week? What do you need to do next week? What do you need to do next month? What do you need to do the month after that? And so you start to create these stepping stones that move you ever so closer to what's important, what matters, and what's going to make a difference to you. That's the 6-part goal driver formula. In actual fact, there's 9 parts to it. Not enough time to talk about it today. Here's the next piece of the puzzle I wanted to spend a bit of time with. You have to now start to develop your mindset. You know, when COVID first hit, people got wound up in it. People got, really absorbed by it all. And I said, there's 2 things that you can control at this point of time. If you want to control the controllables, there's 2 things you can control. How you react and how you respond. How you react is the emotion. How you respond is the action. How you react and how you respond. Here's the question I've got for you. If you're going to make a decision to create your independence today, then what's the emotion, goal driver, and what's the first action? Emotion and action. Here's how you also start to program this bit of real estate. You have to start to think about this. I love this quote. It's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. You know, who's going to stop you from achieving everything you've just written down? It's you. It's not the government. It's not the economy. It's not what's going on in the world. It's you. You have to be able to control your controllable. And how do you start to do that? You do things like you read. Read positive books. Read books that are going to lift you up, that are going to inspire you. Top up the tank with positivity rather than looking through all the news and the negativity, even if it's on Facebook or Insta. Reading. What else? Listening. Listening to podcasts, listening to your leaders, listening to people who are going to lift you up and carry you to another place mentally. Watching. What you watch is so important now. What you need to do is be able to top up the tank. And then the last one there, of course, is mentoring. And you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. Because I know there are some wonderful, phenomenal leaders in Juice Plus. Why? Because I've worked with them over the last couple of years. And not only are they great leaders in your business in Juice Plus, they're just great leaders, full stop. And so I encourage you to do that. Here's the next piece of the puzzle. You have to pick a lane. You have to pick a mindset. You have to pick what I call an amplified attitude. This is on page 5 in your workbook, but you've got to pick an amplified attitude. You have to get a mindset focus and focus on that one mindset for the next 30 days. Let me share with you what those mindsets are, if we'd be so kind. Let me ask you this question. There's 6 of these. Let me ask you this question. How would you turn up? How would you turn up with every cell in your body believing that you were courageous? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you think? What would you say to yourself? What would you say to others? If you were courageous, how would you turn up? If you were tenacious, how would you turn up with every cell in your body believing that you were tenacious? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you think? What would you say to yourself what would you say to others? If you were tenacious, who would you approach? If you were limitless, you had limitless opportunities. If you had limitless energy, how would you turn up? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you think? What would you say to yourself? What would you say to others? I'm going to ask you very shortly to put in the chat box which one it is for you. How would you turn up if you were empowered? If you were no longer waiting for someone to give you permission to step into the light, to step into your potential, how would you turn up? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you think? What would you say to yourself? What would you say to others? If you had great self-love, if you were no longer your harshest critic, if you were no longer the toughest person on yourself, if you were now your best friend, your greatest cheerleader, and your best coach, how would you turn up with every cell in your body? How would you turn up? And if you were grateful, how would you turn up? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you think? What would you say to yourself? What would you say to others if you were grateful? Grateful for, because let me ask you this. You got to have gratitude at the moment, because if you don't have gratitude, you become bitter. You don't become better, you become bitter. And so what are you grateful for? You know, I've got an opportunity to actually teach my kids some things. I've got an opportunity to hang out with my family. I've got an opportunity to have a reset. You've got to find the gratitude in. By the way, it's easy to be grateful, #grateful. It's easy to be grateful when everything's going great, but you got to find the gratitude and when it's not. So here's what I'd like you to do, if you'd be so kind. I'd love you to jump in the chat box and tell me which one of these amplified attitudes is it going to be for you to move yourself forward. Do that for me now if you'd be so kind. What is it? What have we got here? Whoa. Believe in myself more. Good. Okay, well, here we go. What are we? Oh, wow. Self-love and gratitude. I love that. Limitless. Yeah, ready to face the world and teach others. Wonderful self-love, Corrine. Wonderful. Courageous and self-love, Beck. Ash, courageous. Yep. Beaming a light of love. Love that. Jamie May, I think that is. Adele, self-love and gratitude. Gratitude for time. Yes, wonderful. Sarah, I'm loving this. Unstoppable, courageous, tenacious, gracious. Yes, empowered. Elise. Annika, courageous, empowered. Wow, you got this empowered. Yeah, wow, subtle. Oh, wow, this has really gone off. Thank you. Wow, super. I love the participation. I appreciate you doing that. All right, so let me now head down the home track here and just bring all this together for you, if you'd be so kind. So let's do that. Come back over to here. Here's what I encourage you to do. You got some fabulous speakers you're going to listen to for the rest of the afternoon. You've got some more prizes. But here's what I want you to really start to think a little bit about as part of this profile. I want you obviously to pick what your amplified attitude is. The second thing I want you to do is in page 5, you have to work out what do you need to do now? What do you need to do to build your profile? So you can create some prospects if you're thinking about building a juice box. Who do you need to connect with to build that pipeline of prospects? What do you need to do to, obviously, who do you need to connect with? And more importantly, what are some of the projects you need to work on to be able to move yourself forward? Think about what your priorities are right now and think about the decisions you need to make to move yourself forward. And here's what I'd like you to do before you get off this showcase this afternoon. I want you to think about what you're going to do in the first hour. What are you going to do in the first hour when you close it all down? Are you going to make a list of people to approach? Are you going to seek out more information? Talk with the person that invited you along today. What are you going to do? What are you going to achieve the next day to get things started? You got Sunday. What are you going to do to get some momentum happening? What are you going to achieve in the next week? And what are you going to achieve in the next month? See, what I'm asking you to do is to make a decision to take action. Because at the end of the day, you know, what as I said, you just don't want to go through this time, but you want to grow through this time. You want to have the opportunity to take it to the next level. Now, there's a couple of things I want to share with you as we move forward. Let me give you some resources that you might want to access as part of today. So if you want to go to my, my apologies. If you want to go to my website, keithabraham.com/resources. There's a whole stack of free resources there. There's a whole stack of information that can help you move yourself forward. So there's some resources there that you can access. If you want me to stay in touch with you, want to continue the conversation, here's what I encourage you to do. Go to this part of my website, keithabraham.com, subscribe, and you'll get my weekly blog. Sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's a personal message, sometimes it's something written down. Always good value. People love getting it. So you can definitely take that opportunity to do that. I reckon I'm pretty close to finishing up, but before I do that, let me give you one more message. A good friend of mine had a chance to interview Edmund Hillary before he passed away, and he asked him the question, what was it like when you got to base camp? Now, you've got to understand, Edmund Hillary was in the second team. He was never expected to climb Everest. He was there as the support team for the person who was going to climb Everest. When he failed, they came and asked him and they said, "You're up tomorrow." And so my friend said to him, what was it like? What were you thinking when you looked up at Everest? He said, when I looked up at Everest, he said, I thought it was too high. I thought it was too hard. I thought it was too bloody cold. And my mate said to him, what'd you do? And he said, simple. I just put one foot after the other. If you want to achieve anything that we've been talking about today, all you need to do is to take action. Just take that first step. It's always the hardest. And yet what I can tell you is the job is half done the day you take the first step. This is your time. This is your time to make a decision. This is your time to set up your life. This is your time to create a lifestyle for you and your family that other people only ever dream about. This is your time. Hey, Celine, thanks very much for the opportunity to hang out with you today.
Oh, look, Keith, rock star. Thank you so much for that. And I love that whole thing with the, moving between the beach and whatever like that. You are definitely making us want to go hang out in the sunshine. But absolutely brilliant. Love the wisdom that you brought, as always. And then to wrap it off with literally one foot in front of the other, which is exactly what we've kind of been talking about over the course of the day, that consistency and left foot, right foot kind of thing. But brilliant, as always. Thank you so much, my friend, for again blessing our Juice Plus community. You're a rock star.
Thanks very much, Len. All the best, everybody. And thank you for your beautiful comments as well. Appreciate it. Love you guys and always appreciate hanging out with you.
Take care. God bless. Well done.